Hello friends, and welcome back to another episode of America 737 Project, and glad to be back with you guys after being off for a while, but there's been some progress made. And on the video today we are going to focus on the CDU that we have here. That's a Flight Deck Solutions Boeing 737 CDU. I think the model is the MX-PRO. And we are gonna try this unit, and today we are gonna focus specifically on the initial setup for the CDU or the FMC system. Okay, something that a lot of people get confused: the unit itself is not called FMC, although we do use the name FMC every now and then, but FMC is rather the system. The unit itself, it's called the CDU, not FMC. So you need the CDU to manage and control the FMC system. So CDU basically stands for Control Display Unit, and that is what actually controls the FMC system. Anyway, that can be a little bit confusing, but it's not the focus for today, talking about what the system is, but rather actually showing you guys how to do that initial setup. So without further ado, let's get hands on business. And we have our aircraft on a cold and dark situation, so we're just jumping into our cockpit, and I might skip or maybe just go very kind of over the layers of the processor. I don't want to go too deep into it because this is what we're going to be paying attention to. On this second screen, I have my simbrief.com flight briefing, where we have preset the flight that I'm going to be doing today. And again, we are only going to do the initial part of it in this video. We'll continue later on another day with the rest of the flight. Pretty much, we are sitting at Fort Lauderdale International Airport, Kilo Foxtrot Lima Lima, KFLL. We are seated on gate Charlie 5, and there you go. Total cold and dark state for our aircraft, and we're gonna go ahead and get some power to the aircraft and get started on our CDU initial configuration. So let's go ahead and jump into the cabin, and we are gonna go to our overhead panel and get some lights going on. And before we do anything with the power, let's make sure that our gear is in the down position. So our gear is in the down position, and we confirm 3 greens also here on the top. So let me show you how our what it is actually showing up on our CDU right now, and let's go ahead and move to the actual unit. We're only going to be working on our 3D cockpit. For any other areas of the cockpit that are not on the CDU itself, such as the overhead panel, aft overhead, or MIP pedestal, maybe for later on videos. Today, we're mainly going to be using only overhead and aft overhead, and also a little bit of the MIP, but mostly the whole video will be on our CDU. So let's go ahead and jump in there. Okay, so here we've got our unit. Again, this is a Flight Deck solution, and I'm using the FDS-USBmapper tool, and I want to appreciate the guy who made all this possible. So please, if you want, just go ahead and check the link down below, and it will have his community, so you can follow him on explain.org in all of his updates on his project. And also, if you do need the software to run this unit, you can go ahead and get a hold of him, chat to him, let him know what you're doing, and he'll definitely help you out with it. It did really help me a lot. So once again, want to appreciate, links down below if you want to get more information about it. So first things, let's go ahead and just give a little bit of backlight to it, just so you guys can see it a little bit better. And okay, so first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and press the FMC, and as we can see right now, we're running on a 737-800 with Winlex. Our nav data, last 4 digits are 1904. That's the current cycle. It's the 1904. It's active from March 28th until April 24th. And as of right now, it is April the 2nd, so of 2019. So it is current. Our engine rating at 26K. Program. Everything else, it's updated. So before we go into the position initialization page, let's go ahead and here on the sim, and we're going to jump to our aft overhead, and we're going to move our IRS alignment to nav on the select self-test align. And it's asking us to do our IRS positioning. So we're going to go to page number 2. We're going to copy the last non-GPS position. We're going to go back to the previous page, and we're going to set that position here on the set IRS position. And that's going to get things working for us. So reference airport, KFLL. And we're going to set that here. Gate Charlie 5. Okay. And for our route, then it'll automatically copy the airport where we're at. And we're going to set that as our origin. And our destination, Kilo Mike Charlie Oscar. And that is going to be Orlando International. And we're going to go to our performance and initialization screen. Number 1 is going to ask us for our gross weight and our CG. And in this case, the Zevo mod will automatically give us that information. We could also manually just enter the numbers and put it in here, but if we just click here, it'll automatically populate that for us. Our ZFW, or zero fuel weight, is at 119.4, which matches our flight plan, so that's a great thing to have. Our current fuel on board is 12.6, and our planned fuel burn, or rather planned release fuel, is 12.4. So we're going to go ahead and put 12.4. For our reserve fuel, it's going to be 2.2. And our cost index is going to be 11. And let me check what our recommended cruising altitude is here out of our flight release. Flight level 320. So we're going to go ahead at 320. We're going to execute that. Okay, and then let's go ahead and move to N1 limit. And we have to set our outside air temperature. Looking here at the screen, we're now 28 degrees Celsius. And we're going to go ahead and set up that. Let's actually clear it. It's going to be /28. Perfect. And we're going to set a due rate based on our flight release here of 24. So we're going to go ahead to 24 here. We make sure that that's the active and selected one. And from here, we are going to move to our takeoff performance. We're going to be using, based on our release, flaps 5. Flaps 5. Let's go ahead and set our CG. And then now will give us our trim, which should be 4.53. And our QRH, we're going to set up our speeds here. Okay, V1 131, VR 132, V2 142. So we'll stay on this page now for just a second. And I'm going to go ahead and set up my trim. And let's go ahead and do a light test, and that way you guys can see how it will lit up here on the CDU as well. We move our last light test switch up. There you go, and that will illuminate the whole aircraft, overhead, MIP, pedestal, and CDU. So we have our call, fail, message, and offset, and our execute light. So let's go ahead and bring this test back. Okay, so now we have set up our speed reference. We have our trim set up. Let's go ahead and get started with our route. So the next thing that we're going to have to set up on our CDU is our route. And again, I am actually skipping part of the process in the cockpit. See, since we do not care necessarily about that right now. In real life, we will be setting up both things at the same time. But again, today we want to see what it is that we're doing here. So we can go ahead and start setting up our route. We can set up our runway conditions here. It is currently set up in dry. Let's see if you guys can see it there. It is the dry should be a little bit bigger than the rest, and it's actually bold. So if we keep on clicking here, it now changed to wet, and it's going to tell us to verify our takeoff speeds. And we're going to go just back to dry, and we're going to go ahead and clear this message saying verify our takeoff speeds. And since I actually moved that, we're probably going to have to go back and reset our numbers. Actually, no, it's skipping them. So 131, 132, 142. On a real flight, or if we were to continue the whole flight right now, we can go ahead and set our MCP with our 142 V2 speed on the speed block. But no need for us to do that right now. So let's go back to departure, and based on our flight release, let's see what our route is. Okay, so we're gonna be out of runway 2A right, and that moves up to selected, and our seed is gonna be ARCIS 4, so the first one right here. There you go. Let's go back to route, and we can go ahead and activate. At this point, we could also set up our arrival if we would like to. So again, our departure already selected, and if we do arrival, we can preset the runway that we are expecting. We can see we have 5 pages. Let me actually go back out. So we have 5 pages with all of our approaches. We can go ahead and hit next, and we can keep going and so on. Based on what we have here, we were expecting, let me see, checking on our flight release. So pretty much we're going to expect runway 36 left for our arrival, and again, that can change. We do have the possibility of either setting up this arrival right now or not. If we do not set up, the aircraft is going to fly us all the way to the fix at the airport, MCO, And before we arrive there, we should have to enter the arrival procedure with the approach, and we'll have to activate that and make sure that we're doing the right one. For now, let's just go ahead and do let's just set up for ILS runway 36 right, and let me see if we have a start, or we can just simply go to the fix. But we do have on our release, we have bearing 4, so it's going to be the first one here, bearing 4. There you go, and it is selected. Now we're going to go ahead, glide slope, it's on, as you guys can see there. And let's go ahead to route activate. That gave us the bell, and the execute light comes on, and we're going to go ahead and execute that. There's a route discontinuity. We're going to go ahead and for some reason there you go, expecting vectors, and let's go back to our takeoff screen. So at this point we could check our legs. We have 4 pages on our legs screen. It's going to give us distance and altitudes here on the right hand side. Okay. So we're going to be on flight level 320 by this point here. So that is going to be your top of descent, top of climb. And our top of descent will be right after that. It's a very, very short route. Okay. Another pretty cool feature that we have on the CDU, if we go to legs, we will have to change here on our MCP, on our IFS panel. We can change our view to plan, and that activates this control key over here. And now we have a step function over here. So if we go and look, let's go ahead and get a zoom out on our navigation display. Okay, so right now we are, the step that we're on, the control key, it's on this step here, which is what it's showing up, that 5808. That's what's showing up on the main screen. If we go ahead and press the step key, it's going to move to Novi, and you can't see because I zoomed in, but I zoomed out. But if we zoom in, you can see that Novi is the fix that is actually showing up center here on the screen. So the next one, as we can see here, it's Carmit, and we can also check that here, double check with our CDU. So that will be our next step. So let's go ahead and press step. There you go, and it moved to Carmit. And if we look here on our primary flight display, navigation display, now we actually see that Carmit is center in the screen, and so forth, so on. Let's zoom out here. So Carmit at tone. Let's go ahead and keep here going. Arcs, and then from arcs, which is our top of climb, we go to bearing, and right there in between, before that at 90 nautical miles before that is going to be our top of descent. And let's go ahead and zoom back in, Right after bearing, we've got knobs. There you go. And MIG. And we have rames. We have Pi. They're weird names as well. Vecto is the next point. And oh, sorry, that's actually vectors. It just doesn't show the whole word here, but that would be expecting vectors to continue into our approach. We could eliminate the vectors if we want and just do a simple straight cross from the previous point to Silky and just skip that. So basically we will copy this and move it up to vectors, and we can go ahead and execute, and that would update there. Now as I'm looking here, those vectors, it's probably just to eliminate this such steep turn here to make this approach. So probably the vectors is just to get us down safely to this point in a more straight-in approach, unless we skip the whole seed and request to go straight from knobs to Silky, and then that would give us a different profile for our descent. But again, that's not the point of this lesson today. We just want to see how we handle this unit and how that changes our planning. You can always modify this en route before you arrive. You can just go ahead and set up a different approach, execute it, and then you will go back to this screen where you have your step control with the plan view on the navigation display, just to make sure that the route is actually working and you do not have any discontinuity. So again, to sum up this part, let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit more. After Silky, we had J-Core, and then straight into runway 36, and then we will go into our missed approach at Dinmore, and then we would set up a hold if necessary there at Dinmore, showing up at 3,000 feet AGL altitude. So there you go. That basically brings us back to the first step. So let's go ahead and get out of this route. Another cool feature that we have here on the Zibo mod, we actually do have some ACARS for weather only, just for now. But let's go ahead and show you guys that real quick. We hit the menu key over here, brings us back to the main menu. So where we first initially hit FMC earlier today, we could go to ACARS, ATIS request, and let's do KFLL. Set that up here. We're going to go ahead and send it. It's going to say VHF in progress at 0054 Zulu time, and we're just going to go ahead and wait for the ACARS to come back to us with the weather information. That would be also part of getting the flight ready. So meanwhile, here in the cockpit, let's go ahead and get some of our stuff ready. Our speed was set 142 for our V2, and we'll do that for both. And then our captain side is going to be the main one today. And as we can see, we now have our ATIS back. So let's go ahead and click on it. There you go, and you have your ATIS information right on your CDU, and it says ATIS uplink to 2 pages. So we have here KFLL, your time reference 26013, 10 status mile, few at 035, broken at 045, broken at 060, 28 2.18, altimeter 3002. Awesome. we can go ahead and set up our altimeter. Okay, 3002. Okay, perfect. And if we go to second page, it's actually empty on this one. So let's just go ahead and return. And there you go. Let's check in our climb to flight level 320, our target speed. We're going to be using 89.8% of N1 for our thrust. And this key here we can get further into detail later on, but it's basically going to be your shortcut for any of these specific situation. If you have an engine out situation during initial climb, or if you do need to change back to max rate for your climb or max angle of climb, then that would be an easy way to tell your aircraft what it is that you need to do and set that up in your flight computer. Okay, and one limit, just double checking, it's already set up. Okay, seems like we are pretty much ready to go. Okay, so I think that sums up for this video. I don't want to keep it too long, but basically we just have set up our IRS alignment, how to set up your initial performance, gross weight, CG, zero fuel weight, reserve fuel, flight numbers, flight level, and how to input your speed reference here for your speed box. And if you guys do have any question, maybe something that I missed, by all means just go ahead and ask your question down below in the comment section. If you think that I did something that could have been done differently, or maybe I missed a step, just go ahead and let me know. Definitely, I always appreciate that. But again, this is not a very comprehensive video. It's just an overview of how to get your flight computer ready in a fairly short amount of time from a cold and dark state. Again, our aircraft is not totally ready because I did pass some of the steps. I skipped through some of the steps in the process of setting up the aircraft, because we're actually not going to be doing this flight as of right now. But for the next video, we're going to go ahead and continue from here, kind of get all of this set up, and then we'll move on as to explain how do we use our CDU en route and also in preparation for descent and approach to land. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully you also got something useful out of it. If you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. I always appreciate your support. And go ahead and subscribe. That way you can follow up more closely with the channel, and click that bell button, and that's going to help you to know when it is that I have a new video out there. I hope you guys are all doing great, and keep those flights going, and we'll see you on our next video. Thank you guys.